taking time out of your busy schedule to tune into this show. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are going to take a look at, I guess, a growing phenomenon. I didn't really know how big it was, but I was kind of surfing through, and I saw this brother here, brother Rashad Ritchie, who I've watched before. I recently watched him, and he had a debate, and he had or semi debate with Officer Tatum concerning concerning the whole Sonia Macy debacle that we have going on there. And he had a brother from Baltimore on there, police officer, retired police officer from Baltimore. So they were kind of going back and forth. Although Ritchie and the officer Tatum did the bulk of the speaking. But anyway, so I kind of surfing through, and this comes up on my timeline, and I was very disappointed. But you know, it is what it is. Let me turn on my Bluetooth headset here. On or not. So I wanted to kind of discuss, this issue that I guess a growing phenomenon of allegedly black, a black females going on to these different. There we go. It's connected. Going on these different airlines, being kicked off, and I've seen some of these videos, and in my recollection, most of the time they were just wrong and belligerent, and so they were kicked off for a very good reason. But Rashad Ritchie here, Dr. Rashad Ritchie, has taken the opinion that these individuals are being unfairly targeted. As you can see the headline here, it says Delta pilot belittles black woman over hat. All right, so you watch this. So again, I'm watching this. I'm like, what the heck is this about? So let's get into it. Let's watch the video, and you determine what you have to say, and we'll watch a little bit.
Remember all of those stories we've been reporting on about racism and bigotry at airlines, the lawsuits that have been filed against athletes, have been filed by athletes against the airline, been filed by judges against airlines. Well, Atlanta Black Star.
I'm not familiar with any of those that he's talking about. Judges and athletes. I have seen some of the ones about, in particular, females, in particular black females, but I'm not aware of athletes doing this or judges. I'm just not aware of that. So, but he's going to remind us here of a story about this one. So here we go.
Reminded us of this one. Here it is.
That one. Let me see.
Now you talking her
She's got family on nurse. It's okay. So we're not going to do that. So here's your two options. You can take the head off, like the flight attendant told you to do, which I had told him to tell you.
So if you didn't catch that, he said you can take your hat off like the flight attendant told you to do, and like I told her to tell you to do. So just based on that, here's my assumption of what happened. I wasn't there. Here's my assumption of what happened. Either he got wind of it, either he saw it, or somebody complained about it. Somebody being either the flight attendant or a customer, passenger. Somebody saw the hat, him, flight attendant or customer, told him about it, and then somehow he came to the realization that the hat needs to be taken off for the psychological safety and for the safety of the airline or the aircraft and passengers that are on the airplane, right? No offensive materials and all that. So she had been told at least twice. And I'm saying this is the first time. The first time was by the flight attendant, by the authority of the captain, and the second time is now him doing it. So let's paint a true picture here of what occurred.
Or you'll be off the flight.
Okay, can you
Tell me now which one it is.
All right, relax, sir. You just got here. Can I respond? Relax. Can you tell me where that's posted? How would I have known that?
I'm the captain of the airplane. That's where it's posted. And Delta has guidelines, and I don't have to explain it to you. You can take it off, or you can leave the airplane. It is inappropriate. I'm not going to take.
No, what he said was, I want to be very, very cautious before Richie gives it, because he's going to give his idea about what occurred here. So I'm going to give mine. He said, Delta has guidelines, and it's posted, and I don't have to explain it to you. I think now that can be taken a couple of different ways. Either one, I don't have to explain the guidelines, or I don't have to explain where they are. Now, if you've taken an airline, whether you booked it online or you whatever, there's all this different stuff, right? You got to click, I agree to this, that, and the other, right? So I would assume that somewhere in there is these different guidelines about, don't bring these different packages and don't be disruptive to the. It's all in there, right? So this is my assumption of what is going on here. And this is what I think he's saying. Should he have explained it to her? I would say yes. I would actually give him that. He should have said, listen, ma'am, according to our rules and regulations, you can't wear this hat because it's of an offensive nature. I actually kind of agree with that. No issues there.
Vulgar language on the flight.
Okay.
Verbal or written.
Okay.
You understand?
I'm going to rewind it here because I was talking. He says, you can't have this type of stuff verbal or written. That's what he says.
Explain to you. You can take it off, or you can leave the airplane. It is inappropriate. I'm not going to take vulgar language on the flight.
Okay.
Verbal or written.
Okay.
You understand? Do you understand the two options?
Yeah, I heard you, sir.
Now that dip, it seems to me like she took it off because he explained it to her. It seems to me like the dip in the camera angle seemed to that she now took the hat off and then put it on her lap. And now he's asking her if she understands. This is not an unreasonable request. This is not an unreasonable. I want to know that you understand, right? Again, he's not in law enforcement. I don't know his background and anything like that. But I'm going to tell you right now. If I'm telling you what to do something as an authority figure, this is an authority figure. I'm saying this about this captain here, the captain on a boat, on a cruise ship. I'm talking about captain obviously in the military or in the police department or the corrections, or a captain in the fire department, or the boss in your job, right? Without the military rank structure, forget about that. The boss in your job wants to make sure that the directions that I gave you are clear. So listen to her response. Listen, I'll rewind you just a little bit. He's asking her, do you understand? This is not unreasonable. And you can tell by now, again, if you look at his body language, it is a body language of being upset. It is. But why is he upset? Because I had the flight attendant tell you to do it. And now I had to stop my duties of getting the plane ready to take off to come back here and deal with this. So would you be annoyed in that situation? If I'm a passenger on the plane and I'm watching this, I'm annoyed.
You understand? Do you understand the two options?
Yeah, I heard you, sir.
No. Do you understand it?
I said I heard you.
Do you understand?
Do you understand? I heard you. He wants to know that you're going to comply. This is his job for the safety of the aircraft and the safety of the people on it. And I'm saying the psychological safety. And I put this in. If you scroll down a little bit here, here's my comments here. Right, this is me, Dusty PhD. I have a couple of different names here. Right, he should have removed her. She refused to indicate that she was willing to comply for the entirety of the flight. We'll see that in a minute what I'm talking about. If I understood the story, the flight attendant first asked, to which she refused. What's clear is that the captain to address Richie's argument about being a judge, we'll get to that in a second as well, gives him the authority over the physical and psychological safety of the passengers. Right? So I'm saying psychological safety because you can't have any type of, as he just explained, you can't have any type of foul language, written or verbal. So I'm saying this, I'm putting it into psychological safety. Shame on her. I would have been pissed watching this foolishness, right? So that's why. So I want you to get where I'm coming from here, right? So he's trying to make sure that she understands. I'll make myself a little bit bigger. You're not going to see her, but he wants to make sure that she understands that we're going to go through this for the entirety of the flight. He was far more patient than I would have been, because my law enforcement training tells me that if it's not a yes, then you're a no person, and no person should be removed from the aircraft. A no party, a no person, a person who's not going to be compliant with the rules and regulations. We're going to play this game about putting it on, putting it off. When I go back up front, this is a kid game here we're playing here, and this man, the captain of the ship, is trying to make sure that we're going to go along with this, that we're going to do the right thing here. So let's play it.
Stand.
Y'all hear this?
You understand what two options are?
I'm not gonna ruin your birthday.
For the
I'm not gonna
entire
ruin your birthday.
flight,
Then you pointing. Don't point your finger
or
at
you
us.
leave.
Don't point your finger at us.
You got it?
Don't point your finger.
She has no problem telling this man what to do. But when he asks her for her acquiescence, for her to make sure that she understands what's going on, she has a problem with that. I can't point my finger at you, which I agree is not the best as far as as far as being rude and all that. I absolutely agree with that. It's not the best social skills to portray. But it's still, how hard is it to say yes sir, I understand? How hard is that? Yes, or even you don't want to be polite. Okay, yes, I understand. I heard you. It's not just I heard you. He needs confirmation that you understand the orders. Think about your job. Think about, do you understand this assignment that I gave you? Did you understand it? Right? This is rule number 1 about leadership, right? Did before, if somebody messes up, not rule number 1, but if somebody in leadership, one of your subordinates messes up, the first thing the boss should do is, did you understand what I asked you to do? Because you didn't do it. Okay, so you understood it, right? So you got to get confirmation that they understand. She refuses to go on with that.
Okay. So which is it? Tell me now, which is it?
Tell you what, the hat is off. There's nothing to tell you. The hat is right here in my lap.
For the entire flight.
The hat is in my lap.
For the entire flight. It will not be worn the entire flight.
It's in my lap.
I didn't answer that.
I actually have more video. Now you clearly see the hat has been removed. The hat was already removed when the encounter started. He says, do you understand me?
I don't know if that's accurate. It may be. I don't know if that's accurate, but it seemed to me that the dip that she took, because he came back there, he did. I'm saying this because we showed you the camera dip, right? We showed you the camera dip. I think that's when she took the hat off and put it on her lap. That's what I think. But he didn't come back there and say, "Ma'am, I appreciate you leaving the hat, or I see that the hat is not removed. I've asked my flight attendant to do it." To which he didn't start off with that. That's why I'm saying I don't think that the hat was already removed. I think he saw it on her head. Listen, it's right there. And then when he explained it to her, that's when I think that he did it. So rewind it just a little bit, and we'll get Richie's commentary here.
Has been removed. The hat was already removed when the encounter started. He says, do you understand me? She says, I hear you. But he wants her to specifically say the words that he's mandating. He then said,
and he's right, Dr. Richie. He's right. I don't know if Dr. Richie has kids. I don't know if he works for his company. I'm assuming that he's been a radio, done this for a long time for radios. You got to make sure that people understand. You got to send confirmation emails. Do you understand what time to be here? What time we're going to go live on the air? Do you understand that? That is, his request is not unreasonable. And Dr. Richie is either in law school or recently graduated from law school. I heard he was going to law school. I don't know if he's still doing it. I don't know what his status is. But he understands language means something. He understands that. I think he's got 2 PhDs. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Richie has 2 PhDs. So he understands this. He's not dumb, and he's going to law school. Either he has or is in the process of getting. He's got at least 2 terminal degrees and looking for another one. I don't know why he would make this video. I don't know why he would make this video.
He does not have to explain policy incorrect, not according to Delta. Delta says you do have to explain policy when requested.
I actually went to Delta. Let me see here. I can't find any of their policies, and I did call the hotline. Let me see here. Right, I went to couple different places. We'll get to that in a little bit here, but I did go to Delta. I searched for different pilot stuff. So I went that way. Right, this is their in-home policy about just different work stuff. Nothing about aircraft or what you're supposed to do on the airline. I did call a number. I think there's a number here somewhere. There's a number here somewhere. I called it. And human safety, work compliance, safety and compliance. There's somewhere on here is a phone number that I did call, but I got a message service, so I just hung up. I wasn't going to go through all that. I want to make the story, but I don't care that much. All right. So let's see here. I will go back to Dr. Ritchie. All right. So here we go.
Because this allows for the customer to fully engage in the understanding, mutual understanding of the policy. There's more. Here it is. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called in dispute.
I got 6 kids.
Off the hats in my lap.
Tell me it's off.
You asked me to take the hat off the hats in my lap.
Tell me it's off the entire flight.
The hat's in my lap.
1001, 1002. I got 6 kids. I raised 10 kids. I know better.
The hat, I'm not a child, sir. The hat is in my lap.
Okay. So you agree not to wear it or post that hat the entire flight. Is that correct?
Post the hat with it. The hat's in my lap.
And you're past
You asked me to take the hat off. The hat's in my lap.
We have an agreement.
The hat's in my lap.
Okay. I can go up, make a phone call, and have a nice day and go to American or somebody else.
The hat is in my lap.
I need your word. Your
Word for what? Sir, you playing games. The hat's in my lap. You asked me to take it off. I took it off.
I don't want to have you wear it airborne and have a problem with it.
But who's going to put it back on? The hat's in my lap.
You would.
You don't. What do you know me from? Who will put that back on?
Because you didn't give me your word. Okay. I've said enough. You know what? You didn't give me your word. You give it to a flight attendant, and I'll just go up and have the red coats come down, the TSA come down. Because we're not going to do it.
Do what? The hat is in my lap.
He's totally in the right. He asked her, "Do you understand? Do you guarantee me that you're not going to put it on?" These are not unreasonable requests. These are not unreasonable requests. These are not unreasonable requests. Not at all.
I want your word.
He wasn't talking to her like a child. He was saying, "I understand the games. I understand the games that people say. Do this, do that, do this, do that." And next thing you know, well, you got to be very, very literal. If you raise kids, you got to be very literal. I need you to do this, do that, do this, do that. Do you understand the directions? I used to ask my kids, "Here's what I want you to do. Do this, do that, do this, do that." And then repeat back to me what I said. And do you understand it? That's why I had to talk to him. That's why you got to talk to him. Because I want to make sure that you understand. Because when I tell you to put the red blocks in the pantry, then I don't want to see the blue blocks in the pantry. Or I don't want to see the red blocks in the bathtub. I want to make sure that you understand. Where are you going to put the red blocks at? Right? He's playing games. No. She was playing the games. She was playing games.
What are you talking about? What is happening right now?
I want you to tell me you're not going to wear it the entire flight.
My. I don't know how I missed this back when it happened. It wasn't that long ago,
Probably because
but it's part of the tapestry that we have seen recently, in particular, on airlines.
I can't attest to the judges or to the sports athletes, but I can attest to some others that I've seen that the flight attendants and the pilots who interacted with the passengers, the problematic parties, were absolutely correct. So I haven't seen the other ones, but this one, I'm on the captain's side, and on the other ones that I saw, I was on the flight attendants. You think the flight attendants just go around just picking on people? I mean, is that what we're saying? We're just, these people paid their money. They just go around just picking on people. Yeah, here's a black guy, here's a black woman. I'm gonna go over here and harass her about a hat for no reason. For no reason. Just I don't like her. I don't like the color scheme of her dress. I'm just gonna go over here and just harass her. Is that what we think?
Put them up full mass here. I got the background. All right. Great reporting by Atlanta Black Star. A resurfaced video that was recently reposted and reshared thousands of times showing a Delta Airlines pilot confronting a female passenger and demanding she remove a hat with profanity written on it. The video, originally posted in 2020, shows...
Why are you wearing that hat in the first place? He wasn't an airline pilot. He was the captain of the ship. And even if he was the pilot, the man is telling you, as an authority figure and as a representative of the airline, to do something, to remove a hat that other people found offensive. Is that an unreasonable request? And to guarantee him that when he goes back up here and the flights start going and they start passing out drinks and going through for their beverages or snacks and beverages, these people aren't going to see this on her head. If that's an unreasonable request.
Pilot approaching a seated passenger telling her that her hat is not allowed on the flight because of the vulgar language. He demands that she keep it off her head for the entirety of the flight or risk being escorted from the plane. Quote, please tell me where that's posted. How could I have known that? End quote. Quote, I'm the captain of the airplane. That's where it's posted. Delta has guidelines, and I don't have to explain them to you. The pilot tells the woman, you can take it off or you can leave the airplane. It is inappropriate. And I'm not going to take vulgar language on the flight. He adds, referencing the baseball style cap in the woman's possession with the word F on it. Pilot asks, do you understand? Yeah, I heard you, sir. The woman replies. The woman complies and removes the hat, but the Delta pilot continues to question whether she understands it.
Hearing and understanding are two totally different things. Hearing and understanding and willingness to comply with the I'm going to use the police jargon, lawful orders of the captain of the vessel is not unreasonable.
This directive. You got it? The pilot says with his finger pointed at the woman. Don't point your finger at us, the woman states. Okay, so which is it? Tell me now. The captain responds. Tell you what? The hat is off. There's nothing to tell you, the woman answers back. And here's the part that shows you, shows me, shows the world. He is talking to her like a child. He says, she says, the hat is right in my lap. Okay, right here in my lap, she adds, pointing the camera down so that there's verification. This is where the hat is. It's off my head. Tell me it's off for the entire flight. Now you want her to do something else. Okay. The pilot asks. Then he says, I got 6 kids. I raised 10 kids. I know better. He patronizes. She says, I'm not a child, sir. The hat is in my lap. A part of the video showing only 1 minute of the interaction was recently reposted to X and TikTok. It ends obviously by the pilot continuing to question the individual. The longer videos of the interaction show the pilot threatening to call TSA to remove the woman unless she promises not to put the hat back on. It's unclear whether she was penalized or removed from the plane. There were mixed feelings about this, obviously. According to Delta's contract of carriage updated on March 2024, the airline may refuse to transport or remove passengers from its aircraft when the passenger's conduct, attire, hygiene, or odor creates an unreasonable risk of offense or annoyance to other passengers.
Okay, that was updated 2024. I guess this went viral in 20. I'm going to look this up. Delta's contract. The airline may refuse to transport or remove passengers from its aircraft when the passenger's conduct, attire, hygiene, or odor creates an unreasonable risk of offense or annoyance to the passenger. The pilot told the woman that the directed flight attendants in order to remove her to the hat after seeing her aboard with it. The pilot told the woman that yes, that's what he said when he approached her. He told her there were families on board in the cap and that the cap was inappropriate. Why did he approach her? Why did he approach her? Because she didn't do it.
We don't have any evidence that a passenger complained. The pilot told the woman that
they don't have to complain. If this is their contract, we don't know what it was in 2020. We don't have that what it was in 2020 when it went viral on WorldStar. But this is what it is. This is crazy. And it makes
he directed flight attendants to order her to remove the hat after seeing her on board the plane with it. When he approached her, he told her there were families on board and that the cap was inappropriate. Now, everything seems to be understandable. I think the woman even understood once it was explained, but what doesn't make sense.
No, it wasn't understood because we have to have confirmation that it was understood. Dr. Rich is a lawyer or went to law school. He knows that. Just because I heard you don't mean I understood. Nor does it mean that I won't defy your commands. So he wanted that confirmation that when I go back up front here and we get off the ground, as I mentioned before.
To me, is the captain. I don't understand his actions. Number one, of course, you explain policy. This is a customer. This is a paying customer on an airline. You work for a corporation. The individual has requested articulation of the policy. If Delta has a policy, sir, you can tell her where to find it at the website of Delta. It should be clearly listed. In addition to that,
Agreed.
once the hat was off,
Agreed. I definitely agree with that. I mean, he should have told her where it was or whatever. And I went through a bunch of different stuff on Delta, and I couldn't find that carrier contract. So it should be clearly posted. I definitely agree with that.
why patronize this individual as if you are a judge?
That's why I wrote the comments down here about being a judge. Because you want to make sure that there's confirmation. He understands this. There's no doubt in my mind that he understands this. About what it wasn't patronizing. You want to make sure that you get confirmation. I've said this, right?
That's swearing in someone under oath. That is insane. You're going to kick her off because she didn't give you her word? Sir, I don't know Delta policy, but I guarantee you that's not in it. For sure. Oh, yeah. All right. My brother, it takes an understandable request, right? It's an understandable request. And the woman seems to understand it. Once she clarifies, she takes the hat off and says, okay, sir, the hat is off.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, look, I've seen all kinds of vulgarities on hats and shirts and people that have said things on airplanes. I didn't realize that the airlines have the power to sort of remove somebody because they have an F-bomb somewhere. But okay, let's assume they do, and that's the policy, and that's fine. There's so many ways that the captain, and I think the flight attendants could have handled this in a more mature, professional way. You never humiliate anybody that you work with, somebody in your classroom, a neighbor, in front of other people.
But doesn't that go both ways? Doesn't that go both ways? Every time I've been on a flight, sir, would you please, put your seat up? Would you, we're about to land. Could you put your seat up? Could you put your tray table up, sir? Would you like? That's always the way it goes. You don't just come back. The captain doesn't just come back there and just start making demands and start barking at people. And so. Listen, this spinning of narratives to make us look like we're somehow just being persecuted is just crazy. It's just crazy. It's crazy, and this is infantilizing to me as a black person, right? I don't want to see this. What are we doing here? Right? What are we doing here? Yes, you don't want to be embarrassed. Nobody wants to be embarrassed as a passenger, but I guarantee you they didn't start out that way. And if she would have taken it off when the flight attendant asked her the first time, and we don't know how many back and forth they had with the flight attendant, right? And that's why she pulled out the cell phone. Okay, she's like, I'm going to go get the captain, right? I'm just going to go get the captain. So that's why she pulled out the cell phone. So how many back and forths did you have about the hat? I'm not taking it off. I bought this hat. My son gave me this hat. Whatever they said. Whatever she said. Okay, I'm not going to deal with this, right? Now you got this whole thing going on here. I don't know. They took off at mid-flight. I don't know. Turn the lights on. We got to deal with this, right? Oh my God. So we got to deal with all this, right? So she doesn't want to, you don't want to embarrass the woman in the seat. But the flight attendant and the captain can't be embarrassed either. This is their place of business. This is their job. They are at their work. You want somebody coming in your job, whether this is attorney or reporter, whoever he is, or the woman in the seat, wherever she works? Somebody coming in your job, humiliating you in front of your coworkers? Think that's okay?
You pull them aside and you say, hey, why don't you come up to the cockpit? I want to talk to you about something. And you do it privately. You say, look, there's some families on this flight. I think it might be a little.
This is ridiculous. I almost can't even get through this. There's only a couple more minutes. Pull her aside. She didn't want to take the hat off. You think she's going to meet you in the cockpit? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? She didn't want to take the hat off. Wouldn't want to give him a guarantee that I wouldn't put it back on again. And you think she's going to get up, follow you to the cockpit in this tight space?
Offensive to some of them. Do you mind? Can we talk about your hat? Is it possible you can take it off? And you have a reasonable conversation because you treat the person first with respect. But
Right.
when you go in guns blazing and accusing somebody right from the start, you are setting yourself up for one of these confrontations, and you're setting yourself up for being described rightfully as a racist, as somebody who has no understanding for how humanity actually works. And so, look, maybe her hat was offensive, but there's so many different ways that the airline could have handled this to diffuse the situation, to get her to see, yes, of course I'll take the hat off. I didn't realize that this is a problem. And then you're done with this. But now Delta has a huge problem on its hands.
Yeah, and it seems to be ongoing. And that's the issue of why it was brought back in the first place.
That's just it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that we would think that this person they just singled her out for being a racist. That's just absolutely ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I'm embarrassed for that story. I'm embarrassed for that story. You had somebody come on there and co-sign that foolishness. But let me know your thoughts, your opinions, right? Was there pilot right? Were the two pundits here right? Am I wrong? Tell me what your thoughts or your opinions are. Hit me up in the comments section. Much love and peace.